Hey everybody, welcome back. And Chase was just taught a very valuable lesson that I'm not 100% sure that they're aware that they need to learn. What does that mean? So let's talk about it and go back to Friday. Friday, it was announced that American Express was purchasing two restaurant reservation payment back-end technologies. One is Roam and the other one is Tock. I'm not going to talk about Roam too much further than this, but we are going to talk about Tock, which they purchased for $400 million from Squarespace. Now, Tock is the underlying technology that powers Chase Dining. Chase Dining is one of three ways to earn 10 times points on the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the others being booking hotels and rentals through the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal, and the other being booking rides on Lyft until March of 2025, which hopefully that relationship gets extended on a very long-term deal. But this is the credit card world, and everything is sort of temporary anyway. So, about Tock. Tock powers Chase Dining. Chase Dining gives you the ability to make reservations, prepay those reservations, and allows you to earn 10 times points on the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Now, there's not a ton of Tock or Chase Dining restaurants around me. The one that was the most interesting to me at the time that I was looking into it for dining, that restaurant closed before I had the opportunity to utilize Chase Dining. So there you go. Now, there's plenty of other options. There's OpenTable. There's a couple other services that Chase can utilize to continue Chase Dining without having to do something like pay American Express for the ability to license Tock and continue to use Tock to power Chase Dining. Or hopefully, if they were to go that route, they could do Tock and Resi and utilize Chase Dining with Resi and still get 10 times points. But that would be too much Ultimate Rewards earning power to Chase, and it would have to be a considerable amount being paid to American Express, which Chase may not want to pay American Express a dime for that technology. So, this leads to the lesson that I meant, and that American Express operates sort of like a tech company, in that they're very vertical. The things that they will put the most amount of weight into is the stuff that they control. So if there's going to be American Express entertainment credits on future credit cards after updates and things like that, because there is an American Express entertainment trademark, according to a Sebi video about his predictions on the gold card. I'll put the link in the description below. If something like that is coming, they own everything on the back end with American Express. They'll own everything on the back end with American Express Entertainment. If Resi credits are coming to the gold card, and the Resi credits that are on Delta cards, Resi is an American Express company. Lounge Buddy is American Express. American Express controls as much of the vertical as they can to give customers credits. Now, if those customers don't use those credits, hey, no big deal. That's money out of the customer's pocket. But if they do use the credits, even better deal for American Express, because all the money comes in-house, right? American Express operates on a vertical. Chase does not operate on a vertical. Wells Fargo may or may not operate on a vertical. Bilt is operating on a horizontal, but they're putting their hands in so many different things that it's beginning to make sense for them. Citi is operating on who knows, and Capital One is currently just working on the Discover acquisition. But there is one aspect of their business that is a vertical, and that is the lounges. Now, Capital One owns the Capital One lounges. American Express owns the American Express Centurion lounges. They control their destiny with lounges. Chase doesn't. Chase doesn't own the club, the company that they are building out their lounge network with. American Express just bought a company that Chase was dependent on, and apparently may have had an opportunity to purchase not once but twice, and didn't. Tock didn't get sold for the first time to American Express. Tock sold itself to Squarespace back in 2021. It stands to reason that Chase probably had an opportunity to buy Tock in 2021. And if they didn't have that opportunity in 2021, maybe when Squarespace apparently was looking to offload this company, they would have approached Chase as a client who utilizes this technology for Chase Dining, and Chase chose not to proceed with a purchase. And if that's the case, Chase goofed on this and theoretically goofed twice. So, to prevent further goofing, the first thing that Chase will need to do is make a defensive purchase of the club. Now, I've argued in a previous video, I forgot which one exactly it was, but Chase purchasing the club didn't seem like a far-fetched idea at the time. It would get them to further expand their lounge network, begin to come on par with the Centurion Lounge, not necessarily with the overall quality of the lounges. I hear the one in Jacksonville is very small, but be able to come in with numbers and then, maybe close a few at a time for renovations, build out more space, maybe double, triple the size of, Jacksonville. I don't know why I'm picking on the one in Jacksonville, but, work with the strengths that they have, work on the minuses that can become neutral or strengths, and go from there, right? Because the club doesn't just operate in bigger airports, they're in smaller airports as well. So that would give Chase more opportunity to expand to smaller size airports and bigger airports as well. This would close off the club from being a priority pass specific, but still have priority pass, but it would become Chase's one priority pass visit per year rule and not just have unlimited priority pass visits into the club. So what made a little bit of sense previously now sort of becomes paramount for Chase to do, because if Capital One were to buy the club out from Chase, Capital One would catch up and exceed what Chase has done so far with Sapphire Lounges. It would call into question where the Sapphire Lounges would go. If they are club properties, they would follow over and become Capital One Lounges, which would be terrifying for Chase. Almost apocalyptically bad, right? If another company was getting back into the travel game and wanted to present their own lounges and bypass the whole let's have priority pass dining and then lose priority pass dining as soon as we open a lounge, because that's how priority pass operates, Wells Fargo or Citi could buy the club out from underneath Chase, and the same situation could happen. American Express could buy the club, right? Chase now has to make a hugely defensive purchase that will benefit them and their card users in the immediate and midterm, and hopefully the long term as well. But now Chase has to learn that they have to start operating on the vertical on the same way that American Express is. So if there's something that they want to use for credits, it's better to get those in-house, whether that is lengthy exclusive contracts, whether that is outright purchasing a company, whether that is first right of refusal should something happen to a company that they are working on with credits. That is not to say that Instacart is going to go under anytime soon, or that DoorDash is to go under anytime soon, but those are companies that they should be locking up with extraordinarily long-term exclusive deals. Same should be said for Lyft, where the Lyft contract is ending, the DoorDash contract is ending, the Instacart contract is ending. Those need to get extended real quick. Chase has to purchase the club really quickly, and they'll have to figure something else out with Chase Dining, whether they bring it in-house, whether they do something with, I believe they bought Zagat from Google at some point. If not Zagat, then I want to say one other, restaurant and event travel related company. But get those up and running and replacing Chase Dining. But yeah, this is how we make an American Express purchase about Chase, because of what that purchase was doing for Chase before the purchase was made. So I'm going to leave it there. Chase needs to start thinking vertically and stop thinking horizontally, or else they could lose a whole lot more than just the company that was the underlying factor of Chase Dining. There we go. If you like what I do, hit the like and subscribe button down below. Hit the super thanks if you want to support me here on YouTube. Other ways to support me outside of YouTube, check out the pinned comment down below. If you do, I thank you in advance. Thank you so much for watching as always. Talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.